This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 103, How to Overcome the Fear of Starting Your Own Business by Chalene Johnson of ChaleneJohnson.com. And I'm Dan, your host and narrator here on Optimal Startup Daily. I'm here every single day reading to you from some of the best blogs on entrepreneurship, and I hope your week is off to a good start. Also want to mention that if you come across an author or a topic that you'd like to see us explore here on the podcast, let us know about that. You can visit oldpodcast.com to share your ideas. And thank you to Email Octopus. They give you the tools you need for email marketing, including customizable sign-up forms, autoresponders, and list segmentation. A user-friendly platform that's quick to set up and easy to navigate. That's what we loved about it. And right now, Email Octopus is offering Optimal Startup Daily listeners 50% off their first month. Visit emailoctopus.com/OSD or quote code OSD50 at signup. For 50% off your first month of email marketing, visit emailoctopus.com/OSD or quote code OSD50 at signup. For now, let's get right to the post as we optimize your life. How to Overcome the Fear of Starting Your Own Business by Chalene Johnson of ChaleneJohnson.com. What's surprising is a lot of people have this inner drive and desire to do something bigger with their life, yet they never do it. I bet if you and I sat down and talked, you would have a deep passion for something. And if I asked you, why haven't you moved forward and turned that passion into a business, you'd probably respond with, well, because I can't, or I don't know how, or I'm not smart enough. Blah, blah, blah. First, I want to say anything someone else has done, you can do too. Typically, the doubt and the fear stems from the overwhelming feeling of potential failure. You might not directly relate it to that, but most likely, if you've talked yourself out of something, that's probably why. So today, I want to dive into what I call perfection paralysis. Perfection paralysis is the idea that because you want something to be perfect, if there's the potential that it's not going to be, you don't even try. I'm sure you've been there before, whether it's wanting to submit a proposal at work or create a business for yourself. There are times when we are so fearful that the thing we want to do will get criticized or won't be perfect, so we don't even attempt to do it. This can apply to things like writing a book, launching a podcast, or starting your own business. If you want to do something great, but something else is holding you back, chances are part of that is perfection paralysis. So what do you do? A big part of perfection paralysis is the fear of judgment. I know you don't want to be told something you did isn't good enough. You don't want to get a bad review or hear a bad comment about something you're proud of. Because you don't want to be judged, you may not even attempt that goal. Fear of judgment, being told we aren't good enough, usually stems from childhood. If you had a parent tell you that you weren't good enough or you could have done that better, that criticism stayed with you all the way to adulthood. When you were told those things, you were robbed of your courage, and courage is what gets us through fear and failure. Now that we know where fear of judgment comes from, we can recognize that how we were treated in the past doesn't have to be how we see ourselves now and in the future. Hearing those comments repeated in your head from your past has to stop now. The first step to overcoming the paralysis is to mute those voices. They are the echoing of your past, and they are no longer, nor were they ever, true. Don't allow the judgment of someone years ago to affect how your life progresses now. You are capable of doing anything you set your mind to. First steps. Some of my first steps toward overcoming thoughts of perfection and judgment were that I had to mute that voice from the past and create a new goal for myself. Every time I'd think of doing something new, I'd hear, "do better," in my head. It was something that deterred me from even thinking that my thought was valuable. Now I have to remind myself that that little voice isn't coming from me at all. It's coming from my past. I have to put it on mute and remember that I don't deserve to think that way, and that it's okay to have new thoughts in unknown territory. Along with that, I had to set a new goal for myself that wasn't about perfection. I no longer have to be perfect, and that's great. My new goal is to just get myself out there and try it. I can always fix it later, meaning I just need to try something, whether it's putting my thoughts and ideas on paper or signing up for that new class. Once I get started, I can make adjustments, but I can't fix anything if I haven't made an attempt. From paralegal to public speaker. Around 1999, I had been working part-time as a personal trainer, which allowed me to phase out of my paralegal job and focus on fitness and being a stay-at-home mom. I'd been a stay-at-home mom for about a year and thought that other mothers would want to hear and learn from my story. I thought the best way to do this was through a seminar in a hotel conference room with flyers, the whole deal. I was going to get contact information from a parenting magazine subscription list and spend a lot of money to get this venture on its feet. In the end, I put in a ton of effort, I spent a ton of money, and had my first seminar. A total of 6 people came, 4 of which were former coworkers from my paralegal job. I wanted to share this with you because it was how I learned that the first attempt is not a failure, it's just a starting point. I would have never known that my system for running this seminar wouldn't work until I tried it. After that first one, I got much better at giving the second and third because I learned from my first attempt. You have to suck at something in order to be able to fix it. And you can't do that if you're afraid to try or are afraid of what people might say. So put yourself out there and see what happens. Worst case is you'll suck, but the second attempt will be infinitely better because the first is out of the way. Takeaway. The takeaway here is that I don't want your fears to hold you back from moving forward with something that could change the course of your life. Figure out what's causing you to be stuck. Overcome that, whether it's with therapy or willpower, but move forward. You deserve to live a life fueled with passion. You just listened to the post titled How to Overcome the Fear of Starting Your Own Business by Chalene Johnson of ChaleneJohnson.com. And thank you to Gusto. Instead of reading a script about Gusto's payroll and benefits, we wanted to tell you what small business owners say, the people who use Gusto every day. Here's what one business says. With Gusto, I think of payroll as a 30-second job. The website is so friendly and a joy to use. Friendly payroll? You don't hear that every day. Amy from Utah says, I love Gusto so much. They do our medical, dental, vision, and life insurance. It's so painless, it's like going to the spa. And we have great options and rates even though we're a super small team. Health insurance? Like going to the spa? Wow. And here's what Amneat says about Gusto's support team. Whenever something comes up, I reach out and literally 24 hours later they tell us what to do or assure us they've already handled it for us. Smart technology and friendly humans? That's cool. Honestly, the list goes on, and right now our listeners get 3 months free when they go to gusto.com/OSD. Yep, 3 months of payroll, benefits, admin, and more totally free. Again, that's gusto.com/OSD. gusto.com/OSD. And I want to give a big thanks to Chalene. She is a world-renowned motivational speaker with more than 30 years as a health expert. On top of that, she's a New York Times best-selling author, health and lifestyle expert, and top health podcaster with over 20 million downloads of her show, The Chalene Show. She and her husband have trained tens of thousands of fitness professionals and consulted with the world's largest health club chains. They work together, but she's the face of the company. She has sold millions of fitness videos and holds the world record from the Guinness Book of World Records for having starred in the most fitness videos. And on the business side of things, she's created a variety of personal and business development programs that are worth checking out. So come by ChaleneJohnson.com to check all of that out. You can find it all linked in this episode's description. And that should do it for today. I thank you so much for being here and for listening all the way through. And I'll be back with you tomorrow for the Tuesday show. That's where I will have a book excerpt for you and where your optimal life awaits.